Bitmine's ETH stash hits 5.7 annual. Closing in on 5% of supply, Bitmine Immersion Technologies added 27,084 ETH over the past week, lifting its total Ethereum treasury to about 5.7 million ETH, according to a company update reported by Cointelegraph and CoinMarketCap on June 29, 2026. At ETH's price of roughly 1,574 as of June 29th, that holding is worth close to $9 billion. The figure puts a single corporate balance sheet within reach of 5% of all circulating Ether. The purchase landed in one of the weakest tapes of the year. ETH traded down about 10.7% over the trailing 7 days as of June 29th, and the Fear and Greed Index read 16, extreme fear. Bitmine kept buying anyway, and that contrast is the story. A treasury approaching 1/20th of the network. Ethereum's circulating supply sits near 120 million ETH, so 5.7 million represents a touch under 5% of every coin in existence. No other public company treasury holds anything close on Ethereum. The accumulation has been fast. The latest 27,084 ETH tranche, worth about $43 million at current prices, is a single week's work, and Bitmine has strung many such weeks together. Concentration at this scale cuts both ways. A treasury that large gives Bitmine outsized exposure to ETH's recovery if the market turns. It also means a meaningful slice of supply is parked on one balance sheet, removed from day-to-day circulation. For a network whose token underwrites most stablecoin issuance and a large share of on-chain payment flows, supply sitting in long-term treasury hands tightens the float that traders, stablecoin issuers, and settlement rails draw on. The position also raises governance and staking questions that did not exist when Treasury ETH was a rounding error. A holder of nearly 5% of supply that chooses to stake becomes one of the larger validators on the network, with a voice in consensus and a claim on issuance. Bitmine has not detailed how much of its stack, if any, is staked, so the practical weight of the position on Ethereum's validator set is unknown for now. The headline number is the holding. The second-order effects depend on what the firm does with it. Tom Lee blames the calendar, not the chain. Bitmine chairman Tom Lee tied the broader crypto weakness to quarter-end window dressing, the practice of funds reshuffling books before reporting dates, rather than to anything structural in Ethereum itself, per CoinDesk. It is a convenient framing for a buyer. If the selling is a calendar artifact, then a drawdown is a discount, rather than a warning. That red is not provable from the price alone. ETH's 10% plus weekly slide came alongside a sub-$60,000 retest in Bitcoin and an extreme fear sentiment print, conditions that usually reflect more than month-end bookkeeping. Lee's case rests on the idea that fundamentals held while flows wobbled. The market will settle the argument over the coming weeks, not today, buying into extreme fear. The mechanics of a treasury strategy, like this reward conviction, during exactly these stretches. Each tranche bought below prior cost lowers the average, and a firm that is publicly committed to accumulation has little incentive to pause when sentiment sours. The risk is symmetric. Averaging down works until it does not, and a treasury this size has no quiet exit. Selling even a fraction of 5.7 million ETH into a thin, fearful market would move the price against itself. For ordinary holders and anyone who tops up a crypto card from an ETH balance, the immediate takeaway is narrow. One firm's buying does not set a floor, and a 5% supply position does not guarantee a rebound. What it does signal is that at least one large, well-capitalized buyer is treating sub-$1,600 ETH and extreme fear as an entry point rather than a reason to step back.